Apple's foldable iPhone Ultra might launch in September. But here's the catch, so what's really happening with Apple's long-rumored foldable iPhone Ultra? On one side, leaks keep saying the iPhone Ultra is running late. On the other, several reports claim Apple still plans to unveil it in September, right alongside the iPhone 18 Pro and iPhone 18 Pro Max. At first, those two things sound like they can't both be true, but they can. A new leak suggests Apple could be planning a staggered release strategy for its first foldable iPhone, meaning the iPhone Ultra may be announced in September, but not everyone will be able to buy it right away. iPhone Ultra release date versus iPhone Ultra availability. Why both can be true according to the latest report. Apple's foldable iPhone Ultra could debut at the usual September iPhone event, but the actual availability may roll out in phases. The US would reportedly get first access, while other countries could wait weeks or even months before stock becomes realistically available. That would explain why some sources call it late, while others still insist it's a September launch. In this scenario, Apple launches it on schedule, but supply limitations effectively delay it for much of the world. If you're outside the US, the big question becomes, how long would the wait be? The leak points to a delay of up to 2 to 3 months for markets outside the United States. That means the iPhone Ultra might be introduced in September, but could remain extremely hard to get, or not officially sold in your region, until November or even December. Why would Apple limit the foldable iPhone Ultra at launch? If this leak is accurate, the reason is simple. Production is hard, supply is tight, and the phone is complicated. The report claims Apple is facing 3 major categories of issues. Supply constraints. A foldable iPhone isn't just an iPhone with a bend. It requires new manufacturing processes, more delicate components, and tighter quality control. Even if Apple is ready to sell it, Apple may not be able to produce enough units fast enough to support a global release. Pricing pressure. This device is expected to be Apple's most expensive iPhone ever. The rumored iPhone Ultra price range sits around $2,300 to $2,500. At that level, Apple needs near-perfect build quality and a smooth launch, because a premium price amplifies backlash if buyers see early defects, shortages, or delays. Testing issues with early production models. One of the most interesting parts of the leak is the mention of testing problems on production models that have already been built. That suggests Apple may have units in hand, but is still validating durability, performance, and reliability before shipping at scale. And with a foldable, testing is everything. Foldable iPhone problems, Apple can't afford to ignore. If Apple is truly preparing its first foldable iPhone, the 2 biggest risk areas are exactly what you'd expect. The hinge. The hinge is the heart of any foldable phone. It needs to feel premium, operate smoothly, survive years of opening and closing, and resist dust and wear. If the hinge fails, the phone fails, especially on a product that could cost over $2,000. The foldable display foldable screens are far more complex than standard OLED panels. Apple has to control issues like creasing, long-term durability, touch sensitivity, brightness uniformity, and how the screen holds up after thousands of folds, and then there's the user experience. Apple's entire brand depends on things just working. A foldable iPhone Ultra can't feel experimental. It has to feel finished. That's why a staggered rollout actually makes strategic sense. Apple could prioritize one market first, watch early user feedback closely, manage replacements if needed, and scale up gradually once confidence is high. A launch strategy. Similar to Vision Pro? If this limited release rumor sounds familiar, it's because Apple has done something like this recently. When Apple launched Vision Pro, it didn't go worldwide on day one. It started in the US, then expanded to more countries later. That approach helped Apple control supply, handle logistics, and refine the rollout without dealing with global pressure all at once. The foldable iPhone Ultra would be a much bigger mainstream product than Vision Pro, but the logic is similar. High price, high complexity, and limited production capacity early on. And if Apple wants the iPhone Ultra to feel like a new Ultra tier, more exclusive, more premium, more cutting edge, then scarcity at launch might even reinforce that image. Which countries get it first? The leak doesn't provide a full list of early launch countries beyond the suggestion that the US is first in line and other regions may be waiting. That uncertainty is important. Because even if Apple announces the iPhone Ultra in September with the iPhone 18 Pro lineup, available soon could mean very different things depending on where you live. For buyers outside the United States, the real-world timeline might look like this. September, announcement and US pre-orders, possibly limited. September-October, US release with tight supply. November-December, gradual international availability, and even then, available might just mean tiny allocations that sell out instantly. How this could affect iPhone 18 Pro sales if the iPhone Ultra is hard to buy at launch. The iPhone 18 Pro and iPhone 18 Pro Max could benefit massively. Here's why. A lot of shoppers will walk into September ready to upgrade. If the foldable iPhone Ultra is either unavailable or too expensive, the next best option is the iPhone 18 Pro line, especially if Apple positions it as the easy choice with better availability, familiar design, and a lower price. In other words, limited iPhone Ultra supply may not hurt Apple's September quarter much at all. It could actually push more buyers toward the iPhone 18 Pro models while Apple ramps foldable production behind the scenes. What to expect next? The key signs to watch, if this leak is pointing in the right direction. Here are the signals that will confirm it as we get closer to September. Apple avoids giving a clear international release date for the iPhone Ultra pre-orders appear limited. To the US, at first delivery windows stretch out. Quickly, weeks or months, carriers and Apple stores receive extremely small allocations. Apple messaging focuses on availability later this year, rather than a clean global launch. Final take September launch. Slow rollout, so yes, both rumors can be true. Apple could absolutely unveil the foldable iPhone Ultra in September alongside the iPhone 18 Pro and iPhone 18 Pro Max, while still having the iPhone Ultra arrive late for most buyers due to limited supply, high complexity, and last-minute testing or production challenges. If you're waiting for Apple's first foldable iPhone, the most realistic expectation right now is this. The iPhone Ultra may be announced this fall, but getting one, especially outside the US, could take a lot longer than a typical iPhone launch.